my God, son, what the hell are you doing?
364 more days till next year's hockey tryouts. I gotta toughen up.
Only there you shall find the master.
Yeah? Yeah, well, you're the one. Man,
Who's the one and only master?
Do you need meat packages for any budget? Well, ask the Butcher Boys, Sullivan County's #1 butcher shop. For over 40 years strong, open 7 days a week, they provide the freshest meat and take care of any job. The Butcher Boys are open Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and Sunday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Call 845-791-4981. The Butcher Boys, we are the originator of the meat plan.
Are you tired of seeing the same clothes everywhere you go? Need something fresh and unique this season? Check out East Coast Pirates Apparel. ECP Apparel specializes in original styles referencing the best pop culture has to offer, past and present. Visit us at ecpapparel.com or find us on Facebook and Instagram. East Coast Pirates Apparel, clothing for renegades and rogues since 2002. Our matey.
You walk into a bar, first thing you get at the bar, what do you get? What do you order?
Time of day is it?
You know what? Since I'm on vacation right now, we're going to say it's Tuesday, because today is Tuesday, and it's midday.
I'll probably get us iced tea.
Iced tea. So what about Friday night?
Depends. I'm not a big drinker.
No? Okay.
I might get a rum. My drink of choice is rum and Coke.
Rum and Coke?
Yeah, with a lime. Bacardi, usually. But
okay. Kind of eases that sometimes. Depends
yeah,
on the week, right?
Especially if I'm driving, I won't drink. You know?
Right. No, that's... so people who don't know you, your name?
Dale. Dale Miskell.
Miskell?
Yeah.
Cool. And so they ask you at the bar, what do you do? What's your answer?
Lie.
What do you mean lie?
It depends. They don't. Why is someone asking what I do? It's not important.
It's not important, but people want to know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, people ask me what I do. I mean, it's cool to say mailman, not for nothing. Like, but I mean, at the same time,
I'll make something up. Depends on what it is.
I remember the first time that I met you in Savannah.
Okay.
Nobody, like, I mean, Sean knew, my cousin knew who you were, but
yeah.
I had no idea who you were. I was like, dude, who's this guy? He's like, oh no, he's Daly, he's cool. And I was like, oh, okay. Funniest dude, not for nothing. You were the funniest guy, and I was like, he's funny as hell, bro. He's like, yeah, I know. So we didn't know who you are, what you did, didn't know anything like that, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, man, you just came up all these jokes, and you knew some like old school music too, which I really liked because you were the DJ for the night. You became that, and it was awesome, man.
It's all good. Yeah.
It was a great time actually. Savannah's always fun.
Yes.
So at this point, you are retired? No? Yes.
Well, I'm retired from my career. One career. I've started a second one.
Okay. So what was your older career, and what are you jumping into now?
Okay. Well, for 28 plus years, I worked for Uncle Sam.
Mm-hmm.
The last 23 and a half years, I was an F.B.I. agent. I retired as a supervisory special agent of the F.B.I.
Okay.
I specialized in the last 12 years. I specialized in cybercrime.
Right. Okay. Now, you say cybercrime. Cybercrime is different from, I mean, obviously, like the other crimes, everything that goes on, like everything's with the internet and such like that, right?
Typically think of cybercrime as where you're using the computer to facilitate the crime.
Right. So, with that, do you usually, I mean, is everything on the computer? Like, I mean, do you always have to do the backdoor stuff, or, you know what I mean? Or,
I don't understand that question.
So, okay, so basically everything is behind closed doors usually with like cybercrime.
Oh, you mean in the bureau?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay. Can you elaborate?
Well, the thing, if you mean behind the closed doors, if you mean make it classified,
Yeah.
that depends upon
yes.
the predicate offense that you're investigating.
Okay.
If you're just investigating a child pornography or a financial institution fraud or a cyber scam, an online fraudulent scam,
Right.
that's unclassified. It's
Okay.
law enforcement sensitive, but it's not your classifications like secret, top secret, and confidential.
What's some of the biggest problems that you've had to go through, if you can?
Yeah. My biggest problem, you mean biggest cases or?
Yeah, one of the biggest. I mean, if you could start off with like some of the biggest problems that people actually, or cases that you've had, and then kind of move down the line once.
Well, I think let's back up before we get to cases. Let's talk about the society as a whole.
Perfect.
I think society's becoming, now that computers are around. See, the Bureau didn't start really getting involved in cybercrime until about 1998.
Really?
Yeah, because that's when the internet was coming around, and laws take a while to be passed.
Okay.
It takes time to change, and it also takes time to ramp up to get agents trained in that area. Luckily, the young agents, new agents that work for me, are agents that we recruited specifically with cyber skills.
Okay.
We started a cyber career path in the Bureau, so that way an agent gets hired, they can be in that cyber career path, and they'll work that exclusively. Because it's a skill set you want to keep, you want to maintain. You don't want to go to all this training and have all these great skill sets one week, and then the next week you're off the cyber squad and you're working bank robberies or kidnappings.
Right.
So you're going to lose your skills, your technology skills, because we know technology is always changing.
Right.
So you want to make sure you're adapt to that. So what happened was, go ahead. Do you have a question?
No, I got thousands of questions for you. But no, the more you talk
So
about
what happened? It took the Bureau a while to ramp up, but right now they're very skilled and very gifted in that area. But what I'm talking about, and then the public has also marched along with, as the Bureau's responded to, as the citizens of the U.S. and not only that, but the corporations and the businesses, they become better stewards of their equipment and of their network, and the people have gotten a little more aware of the different threats that are out there, from spam, now to spear phishing. Everyone knows what that is. All the threats, the emails, like click on this link, and someone sends you this email,
Right.
hey, you've won money. Everyone realizes, hey, this is just a scam.
So, all right, folks, like for people listening and such, it's so easy to click on something like that, and I've been stupid enough to do it myself. So, I mean, everybody's done it.
Right.
What is one thing to look for with that? I mean,
Yeah.
some people still click on it.
Well,
you know what I mean?
They
So
do.
it's-
Yeah, there's been a lot of studies out there about the psychology of the click.
Right.
It's out there. Some people just love to do it, but they don't think about it.
It's like the mysteriousness behind it or
Yeah,
something like that.
if you don't, I have different email accounts for different things.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so when something rolls into my personal email account, if I don't know the person, I don't know anything, then I'll either delete it, and I'm not definitely sure I'm not clicking on anything of it.
Right.
Then when I go over to one of my throwaway accounts, I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
But
And
typically, I'm not clicking on any links. I just don't do it.
Right. So your side of what you're doing now, and retired, awesome. What's retired life like, even though you're still working, kind of, pretty much?
Well, it's a lot of it depends upon the person and their personality and their makeup, how they enjoy life.
Right.
Okay, I enjoy life. I like to live life.
I can tell. I mean, like I said, first time I met you, you were funny as hell.
Yeah.
You still are. You didn't lose that, promise.
Yeah.
And anytime I talk to you so far, always traveling or something like that, which is amazing. I'm a huge traveler. Love to travel. There's going to be places that I like to go to and I have not been to yet. So what's one place that you haven't been that you want to go to?
I got a couple. I'm going. I've been to Southeast Asia a couple times the last year. I'm going back again.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Now, like, what's over there?
Well, the culture's really neat. It's it's neat to investigate that and to look at that and to see the people. Been to Thailand. Thailand people are very great, very helpful. Great food.
In Thailand?
Thailand. Also been over to Cambodia. Next time we fly back, I'm going to go back. We've been up to Myanmar.
Right.
We're going to go back up and do the northern part of Myanmar.
Now, where's that again?
That's just former Burma.
Okay.
They just had their last year we were there. They just had their first democratic election, and when they found out we were Americans, and they don't see a lot of white people there, so they take pictures of you. And it's
Really?
point, and yeah. So we would call them over, and hey, we'll take your picture with us. And they when they found out we're Americans, they wanted to talk to us because they really respect our political system.
Really?
Yeah, and because they just had their first democratic election. And
Oh,
so,
wow.
we went to a polling place and they showed us, we met with the polling president, they showed us how they vote and all the things like that. And people were offering to people would stop us and ask us to have food with them. And so you walk to the market area, have a drink with them or talk to them. It's nice.
All right, so looking at that from that perspective,
Mhm.
so you have other people looking at, all right, you're from America, blah, blah.
Right.
Did you get a lot of that, like, throughout your career as through the Bureau?
But people staring at me?
Not so much staring at you, but I mean, like, oh, you're, not so much as the Bureau, but I mean more so, like, oh, you're from America. I mean, since you got to go to so many other different places, I mean, was there more attention that you've noticed?
It depends upon where you go. I mean, like when I was in Africa, West Africa, I mean,
Right.
you kind of stick out there.
Okay.
But then again, there are a lot of white people there in those areas.
Okay.
I think it's just in Thailand you don't see it as much.
Right.
And Cambodia wasn't bad. I'm going to Vietnam this time. I don't think they're just not that many Westerners since they just opened up to travel there.
Right.
So I think that's why.
What's I'm just gonna switch gears for a second or two here. What was one of the biggest cases that you've had to deal with?
In the Bureau?
Yeah.
I had to deal with the investigate wise.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of. I was lucky, I didn't have like a top 10. I had a top 10 fugitive case, but that wasn't like a top 10 case that everyone knew about. I had some interesting cases, just your normal average run-of-the-mill stuff in the Bureau. It's fun.
I mean, it's not the same as like cops and robbers, though. You know what I mean? Like you have. So when you're doing like F.B.I. agent stuff and everything, it's completely different from just picking an ordinary guy up that's trying to sell weed or coke or anything on the street. You guys are going after the big fish. It's not, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Not to just. I don't mean this. I don't want you to take it like a slight as to local law enforcement.
No, of course.
But they have one thing. Luckily, we're not reactive as much as they are. We are now.
Right,
The Bureau does have the reactive capability. But see, the policeman's in that marked car driving around. He has so many things he has to worry about. When we go to make an arrest or we go to do something, it's usually on our time.
Right.
So we bring mass firepower, mass amounts of people, and we hit your house at 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning when you're just waking up. So we luckily we do it on Bureau time, not on your time. It's on our time.
We got stuff to do today, you know.
So I mean,
that's awesome though, because
a lot of different cases.
When you think about it, I mean, normally, police officers don't hit, like you said, 6 to 7 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
People do not come to your house at 6 or 7 in the morning, and you guys are there ready to go. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
We got other things to do. What I mean?
We want to get you when you're sleeping.
Yeah, or still foggy,
Right, exactly. You're just hungover, or you're still high on drugs, whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch gears again here. Growing up, what was the one thing that you wanted to be? So, what was your dream job?
I was in 5th grade. Took a tour of the F.B.I. headquarters.
So this is something that you.
Yeah.
It was a planned thing here.
Yeah. Told my teacher I wanted to be an F.B.I. agent when I grow up. She goes, "It's great, Dale. It's good."
Did she kind of brush it off? Like.
No, next week we were at the library and she came over. Hey, I found this book about the F.B.I.
Right.
Her name was Miss Wright. She showed it to me, gave it to me, so I read that. So now, fast forward 20 years, I'm 26, turned 27, academy, graduated a year. I'm back home for, I had at Quantico, you have the in-service and that Friday, so I got home that afternoon.
Right.
And I wondered, I wonder if Miss Wright's still at my elementary school. So I walked over to my elementary school and she was still there.
No way.
So I walked down to her classroom. She remembered me because she had a relationship with my family too.
Right.
She knew us, And I said, "Hey, Miss Wright, I have something to show you." She says, "What's that, Dale?" I took out my credentials and I showed her to her.
What'd she say?
She just started crying.
Oh, really? That's actually the best reaction.
Yeah,
you
so
probably
she
could have
cried,
gotten.
and hugged me, and thanked me, and wished me the best. And
It's gotta feel great as like a teacher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, you being a teacher, you take that in. You're like, wow, I taught this kid, and I told him that yes, he can do that. And you did it. You know what I mean? That's awesome, dude. So, Was there anything else that you would have wanted to be if you weren't what you did? Like,
I was always interested in law enforcement. A friend of my brother's really impacted me at a young age. You know, you don't think about it at the time when it's happening because you're involved and you don't see it.
Right.
But as I was older and I matured in my life, I saw the impact that he had. He was my brother's friend. Right. My brother was 4 years older than me. And I think he was like 1 or 2 years older than my brother. So he was always over at the house, sort of, you know, hanging out, stuff like that. So we got to know him. We got to know my family, almost another brother, you could say, to the family. And so he was a policeman for Prince George's County. It's the county I grew up in.
Okay.
And so, you know, they had the take-home car program. So I would be riding around with him and hanging out with him. And that's when I got to see what law enforcement's about. And this is before cops on TV and everything on TV. See, everyone always sees that stuff, and that's what they think what law enforcement's about. You're always in fights every day and shootings every day.
Right.
I can tell you, people used to always ask me, what's your job like as an FBI agent? How would you describe it? And I'd look at them and I'd kind of smirk and I'd say, my job is hours of boredom followed by minutes of sheer terror.
That's a hell of a description, dude.
That's what it is.
Now, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. A crime happens, right? If I'm
Right.
not there when it happens, I'm after the fact.
Right.
The threat's gone. I'm going into the investigative mode. Who, what, where, when, how, why.
Okay.
And then I'm going to try to prove that. Along that way, I want to identify the person who did it. Once I identify that person, if I get the arrest warrant, we go to find him or her and lock them up. Not everyone likes to be locked up, you'll find out. People like to fight. People like to run.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going away for a long time.
Yeah. So, you know, I've been in fights. I've been in run. I don't mind. I like the running better. I can chase people. I'm pretty fast.
All right.
Yeah,
You do have a slim body. You know,
Yeah.
it looks like you might have been on the track a couple
Yeah,
times.
back in the day, I was one of the fastest guys in my graduating class. So,
Were you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Out of 50 people, I was like the third fastest.
Did you have like certain times?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Would you get like?
Oh, I can't remember. Geez, that long
Come
ago.
on, man.
I'm not lying. I just can't
you
remember.
gotta know 100 times.
That was 30 years. Not
He's
we weren't
like,
doing.
Actually, I broke Usain Bolt's record.
No, we did it. It was like a 220 shuttle run where you started off laying on your back.
Really?
You had to get up.
Okay, cool.
And it was a serpentine course and back down. So I was number 3.
No shit.
Yeah,
no
those guys.
Shit.
2 of them than me. So yeah, so it was all good.
Right. No, no, that's cool though. I mean, you know, there's always got to be faster people. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But
a lot of
that's
people
cool. The top 3, that's pretty damn
Yeah,
good.
a lot of people don't run. See, the Bureau, we get time to work out, so I would always run and work out.
Right.
So I remember we went to a buddy and we had this new agent. Tell you a funny story.
Yeah.
So we had this new agent in Quantico. So we're on the white collar crime squad. And so it's kind of funny. It just happens to the local policeman. You always hear about the proverbial routine traffic stop. It just turns into a goat's food. Right?
Yeah.
Something happens, you know. Well, that same a buddy of mine, a good friend of mine, he graduated the class ahead of me 2 weeks into my classes at the academy. So we were at the same office. So we're on the same squad. So he said, hey, I got this new training agent that just started today or this week. We're going to go. I'm going to take him out to coffee. We're going to sit down and go over some stuff. Why don't you join us? I said, yeah, that's fine. So we're going out to coffee to talk to this guy about the area. You know, just get to know him. Mm-hmm. My buddy says, hey, do you mind if we swing by this house? Because I heard this guy I have a restaurant for might be staying in one of his houses.
Right.
And what he would do is he would buy rundown houses, and then he would quote unquote fix them up. Right. But he had an appraiser that was in on the take.
Gotcha.
So he would buy a house worth $100,000. Maybe put some paint on it. Buddy comes by, says it's worth $200,000. Then he would cash it out and take the money, and then the thing falls through.
Right.
So that's okay. So we're in our old boat, Delta 88 back in the day. This is like probably the early 90s.
Okay.
And big old boat, Delta 88. So we roll up. So I'm in the front passenger seat, and my buddy's driving. I go, hey. He parks in front of the house, which is that you never do. You always park down the street and walk up.
Okay.
I go, well, if he's in there now. I says, he knows the man's here. So he says, I'll back. So he backs up. I go, yeah, that's really going to help. So we're getting out. So my partner, my buddy says to the guy, the new agent says, take the back. Go out the back. Just walk to the back. He goes, man, I don't want to take the back. Nothing ever happens in the back. I said, I'll take the back. So those two guys are going to the front door. I'm going to the side gate, going to the backyard. In California, most of your yards have a 6-foot fence around because all the houses are real close, and they put these wooden fences up to give you some privacy. Okay. So as I'm getting ready to open the gate, I hear all this commotion and noise in the backyard. I'm like, what's going on? So I kick the gate open. I pull my gun out. And I look around. All I see is elbows and feet. This guy is hauling out the backyard.
He's moving.
Oh, he's hauling it. He is hauling the mail. So he's running. So he jumps the fence. So now I put my gun. I'm running after. I yell, "He's running out the back!" So I'm running out the back. So meanwhile, now imagine I'm running now. Cut to the front door. They've knocked on the door. The front door is being opened. There's a girl there, scantily clad, like just a bra and underwear. Okay.
Yeah.
The two agents say, "Hey, we're looking for whoever the guy's name is." She goes, "Oh, he's not here." About that time, he hears me yell. He's running, and he sees me and the guys going to the house because they look at the house and see the big sliding glass doors.
Now time out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like,
yeah.
do they usually do that like very skimpy just to
No,
take
that
attention off something?
No, I don't think they would. They
Okay.
had that much. They didn't know where I don't think they put that much forethought into it
Okay,
to
gotcha,
scam us like that. So he's running. So he sees me. So now he's coming after. So now I've already jumped the fence. We're on top of the train tracks because this
So
house.
you can run and hop fences.
Oh yeah, that's not a problem. In a suit, I was in a suit.
Oh, in a suit.
In a suit.
Is this like Men in Black?
Something like that. We wear a suit. That's we're the man. So I jumped the fence. Now he's up the berm because we're back to the railroads, right? So you have railroad tracks up on big berms. So I run up the top of the berm, and the guy's not on the tracks. But I look down and he's over in the field. So I run down. So I'm not going to go down in the field after him,
Right.
Because I know my partners are coming and I want them to see where I am. So I'll stay on the high ground. So this guy's hauling oats. So I pull my gun. I yell, "FBI, freeze, or I'm going to shoot you." Now, was I going to shoot him? No, I wasn't going to shoot him. But I wanted to stop him. I wanted him to think I was going to shoot him.
But yeah, if I heard FBI freeze and I'm going to shoot you, I would probably
Yeah.
stop.
So he stopped. He looked around and he saw me point my gun at him. I said, "Get back here."
Like a
Sure enough.
disappointed father.
So he
Okay,
said-
get over here.
So he walked back up.
No.
Yeah, he did.
After all that.
And
After
so
all that.
he
just
walked back up, came back up top. I laid him down. I put handcuffs on him. By the time the other agents rolled up
Oh
there.
my goodness. You
So-
gotta be kidding me.
No.
So, I
locked
mean,
him up.
like, what do you think psychologically? I'm guessing you have to go through, like, some sort of, like, psychology classes and everything like that
Right.
early in the day, right?
Yeah, they teach a lot of that, but yeah, the Bureau's training is very good. They do a lot of good training.
That's cool.
Plus,
But, I mean, like, what goes through that mind, do you think? Like,
his mind.
yeah, I mean, all right, so you've always been on the other side, you know what I
Right.
mean? Of
The good guy side.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
okay, come back here, blah, 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 or what it may be. But at the same time,
Some people listen, some people don't.
yeah, but I mean, you're already not listening in general.
Right.
That's why you're getting caught, if that makes sense.
Right, but then that's usually done with no one around. You like kids.
Okay.
Imagine you're a kid in your house. You do a lot of stuff when your parents aren't around.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
But when dad's here in the house, you don't do that stuff
yeah,
because you don't want to get in trouble.
right.
That's the same thing. But see now, that's a big. Not to get political here, but I think that's a big problem with a lot of people with the police now. You know, when the policeman asks you, "Hey, for your driver's license registration," because you pulled over, they don't want to give it, or they start giving a bunch of crap because they think that they don't have to do that.
Right. Too many options.
It's not.
I
I mean,
guess.
you have to just give it, and you got a problem, then you work it out later.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Don't make the situation worse for yourself.
So, what was one of the biggest cases that you enjoyed working with?
Let's see. Well, the Unabomber last hit in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
Last person he killed was there. Mr. Murray
Really?
was his name. Great guy, from what I didn't know him, but just after the investigation, I had the opportunity to meet with his family and talk to them.
Oh, really?
Great people. Yeah. I was
Now-
the first agent there on that scene and helped out with that.
What was one of the what was one of the biggest places that you went when you first started, like across seas and such?
What was it?
What was one of the biggest places that you went across seas when you first started?
Well, you didn't really go overseas first. What happens when I graduated the academy, a lot of the East Coast people went to the West, and the West went to the East, and vice versa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't send you back to where you process from.
Okay,
They want
gotcha.
they want you to go to a city that nobody knows you, so you have anonymity and you have no family there. And if you don't have any family or anything to distract you from work, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's almost like perfect.
You're going to work.
Yeah. You have to work.
Yeah.
Actually, it's almost like the way I look at it is, you ever see not My Cousin Vinny, My Blue Heaven?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, it's Rick Moranis.
Oh yeah.
And Steve Martin. Steve
Yes.
Martin is
That's the mob guy, right?
Yeah. And I thought that movie is great because it's so sarcastic. But you know what I mean? They call him Barney Cooper Smith, and then his name is quote unquote Dickie. You know what I mean? And he's like, call me Dickie one more time, and I'll kill you. He was over being undercover. But they made themselves undercover. So it was like,
well, they teach you in the academy and stuff like that. It's called OPSEC. You don't go around and tell people a lot about you're an FBI agent.
Right. Yeah.
Your neighbors are going to know and find out, and they're good with that. You have to do that. I mean, I have great relationships with all my neighbors. They're going to know you're an FBI agent.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain. You got a gun and you got a car with lights on. How do you explain when I roll home with a Crown Vic with a police package on it? So.
Just to cook.
Exactly. Nothing to see here. I tell you, I was so paranoid, right? So I got transferred to Sacramento. I went for a run. I'm staying like an apartment where my house is being built and ready. So my wife at the time is on the phone inside the house calling her parents. So I went for my run, and I'm at the pool hanging out. There's a guy and a gal in the hot tub, an elderly couple, not a couple, but elderly people. And then there's another lady over here, a younger lady, cooking behind me, stuff like that. And so they're talking amongst themselves and stuff like that. And so they're telling what they're doing. And then all of a sudden I heard the lady say she's a teacher, she just got back from Russia and all this other stuff. So I got real paranoid, and so they asked me what I did. I said, I'm a photographer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here just doing some landscaping photos up in the mountain Sierras, some BS like that.
Right.
Something that nobody would ask you to think about.
Now, why did you say that? Why not just?
Well, because I didn't know who she was, and I was young and dumb and not being able to assess everything. She just got back from Russia. Right. At that time, the Cold War was still on.
Oh, okay.
So
it's like I got my eye on you.
I didn't. So it's best for me not to say. Cause you never know how people are going to react.
So all right. So growing up, you had mom and dad around.
Yep.
Cool. Good childhood, bad childhood.
I think I had a great childhood.
Yeah.
I still have buddies from high school that I go out with.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I still keep in touch
how was mom and dad?
Great.
Yeah.
I think I was blessed. I mean, I worked hard. I helped pay my way through college cutting firewood.
My dad did the same thing.
Yeah, what happened? We had my dad's had this acreage. They dropped the trees. All the the lumber company took the bottom parts. All the tops was left over. So the guys said, "Hey, Dad, my dad can clean up." My dad was a farm boy from Maryland, and then in 1945 he joined the Navy. Just the tail end of World War II.
So he
did 20 years in the Navy.
Was he a no-nonsense guy?
Yeah, most people are back in that area.
Right.
Because...
More cutthroat.
Well, I don't know if it's cutthroat. It's just the life. They know how life is. They know how fragile life is.
You have to work. You
have to work. And, it's the... I think that's what's losing a lot of people nowadays. They don't realize that everyone wants to come here. Right. Because of the abilities that you have here once you get here. It's up to you. If you put something into it, you can get out a lot of it. 6 o'clock in the morning, we're down there cutting wood. By noon, we're quitting because it's too hot.
We
did 110 cord of wood. We dropped it at the summer, cut the trees up, split them, stacked it, right? You know what I did over Christmas break? I delivered wood.
That's no excuses.
And I'm good with that. Now, will I have a fireplace in my house, and have I had a fireplace? No. All the homes I've had, no firewood. I don't ever burn firewood. Mine are gas appliances. I turn on a switch.
Is it like you had enough of it?
Had enough of it. I'm not dealing with it. 8 by 4 by 4. I remember I used to stack that wood. That's what a cord of wood is. One lady saying, "Hey, this is not tight. Ma'am, it's not a puzzle." I said, "You stack the wood so it airs and breathes. It stacks it up so the squirrel can go through there and the dog can't get them."
That's a great image, dude. But it's true though, because nowadays, nobody wants to actually put in the work, regardless of if it's easy work or hard work. Nobody wants to put in the work to get the results. Everybody just wants the results.
My first job, I think I made like $1.75 or something like an hour working at Roy Rogers.
And it's still around too.
Yeah, still around. I was in the back making burger patties. I remember once, my dad didn't own stock or any of that stuff, Right. Later on, I got mutual funds. So I remember I was putting in burger patties. I'm making these burger patties out of all this cold meat. I see the sign, "Hey, buy our stocks." I'm like, yeah, I make $1.85 an hour. I got the money to buy your stock. So one time, the store manager, they had a big conference here, like in Northern Virginia, a bunch of Marriott people. So he took so many from the store to this. So we went there and all this big. Again, I'm 16, so I don't really know much about, a little bit about world. But you don't know much at 16. You think you know more than you do. So anyway, afterwards, just one of the senior VPs is out press in the flesh and talking to us. And doesn't mean ill beans. I mean, we were nice and cordial, introduced ourselves to him. And he says, hey, where are you from, son? I said, I'm from a small town. You don't know where I'm from. He said, I said, I'm from Clinton, Maryland. He goes, Clinton, Maryland? He goes, I cooked the first hamburger there. And I looked at the guy and I go, wow. I said to him, oh, I'm impressed. He starts rolling laughing because, you know, he's got a good sense of humor.
Yeah, but he's not expecting somebody like you to say
exactly. That's what he said. He
man.
looks at the manager. He goes, man, I bet you, because we all start laughing. So the manager, he says to the manager, he goes, I bet you have fun with this crew. He goes, yeah, I do. And the guy just hugged me. He loved it because he realized he's, you know, that's the problem. Some people get, and when they go up, they start getting this ego that just sucks, and I hate that. Like when I was an FBI agent, I was never like
egotistical.
Yeah, and I never told anyone, "Hey, I'm Special Agent Dale Miskell." Right. My name's Dale Miskell. I'm with the. I'm gonna go out to interview. I'll show you my credits. I am with the FBI. Right. He says it right there. You know I'm an agent.
Yeah.
And I got more informants. You get more sources.
I remember when we first met you guys. Like I met you and your nephew, I believe.
Yeah, Steve.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I first saw you guys, like, you know, I was like, oh, I'm Brian, blah, 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 I'm from New York. You know, we were all in Savannah. And, like, kind of nobody believed that you were an FBI agent at first, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden you're like, no, really, I'm like, retared. And, like, you put out your badge, and I was like, guys, he's a real FBI agent. Like I whispered, you know, like we're not allowed to talk about this, you know?
Well, see, that's a lot of TV. A lot of people have these preconceived notions. I mean, I'm just like anyone else.
Yeah.
It's just it's just a different calling that I had. Now, do I have to put my game face on? Yeah, like when in the office, my squad. When I had my squad, I said, "Listen, this is our home. Here's where we joke, we laugh, we have a good time. Because once we go outside, it's game day. You know, we put our game faces on because we can get killed. Right.
You know?
Yeah.
What was the training for? I mean, all right. So you didn't really go through training for police academy or anything like that.
FBI has an FBI academy.
Right. So, would you think it's any different than the other academies, like police academy or something like that, or maybe more advanced or something like that?
I don't know if I'd say advanced. I think it's just different.
Okay.
You know, because you figure a policeman, he's got so many things to do, responding to different calls.
Right.
We have different investigations we have to do, but a lot of the investigations basically the same.
Okay.
But you know, it's gotten longer over the years too. I think they've added another 4 weeks.
I mean, probably added another 4 classes. You know what I mean? I mean, to be honest,
the terrorism stuff. Like, I remember we used to shoot every other day for 4 hours. FBI agents shoot a lot.
That is so in sync right now that you get to hear that. Yeah. When you say that.
Yeah, we'd shoot every other day for 4 hours. By the time you leave there, you're shooting so much. I was sick of shooting.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, wasn't that the one thing you wanted to do though at one point?
Yeah, you do. You do, but now you just want to graduate. By the time you want to you're done playing all the games and interviewing all the people, because they've got a town there called Hogan's Alley. It's basically a little town.
Okay.
And they hire actors and actresses to work there, and you investigate crimes.
Really?
Yeah, they have a bank there. It gets robbed all the time.
Really?
Yeah. And you go and investigate the bank robbery. So they can set up all types of cases for you to work.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, so do you know that that's what it is at first, or?
Well, well, it depends on how they'll set up. So they'll say there's going to be a case you're going to work today. It could be a kidnapping, it could be whatever. You just sit in your office and the phone rings.
Okay.
Somebody takes the call. Hey, Bank of Hogan just got robbed, and they start on the phone, start getting the lookout, right. And then everyone starts responding to the bank robbery.
That's pretty cool, actually. So I'm gonna probably go into third gear real quick. Definition of being successful, and one person in your life, alive or dead, doesn't matter, or somebody that everybody knows is actor, actress, whatever, that you think is successful.
See, I'm not sure if I have my answer to that. I'm not sure if I have the typical definition of successful that a lot of people might have or society might have.
Well, I think you're right, because but at the same time, so I'll give you my definition.
Yeah.
Okay. That way,
right.
Please take it.
Yeah.
You're good.
Go ahead.
So, my definition is the personal success is your personal being and what makes you joyful in life. Now, I say joyful because happiness can come and go. When you're joyful, it's there for a long time. You know what I mean? And it's just there. So, your personal way of getting to being joyful, and doing that throughout your life. That right there is successful. That's what makes you successful, and that's my personal opinion. So it is a hard question
Right.
to answer.
For me, success is like just do whatever you want to do that makes you happy. They provide you with the quality of life that you want.
Right.
Like a lot of people now, they want to, like, it's kind of neat, the younger people, they want bigger houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right now, and I think about, geez, I had some big houses, but then, what was sucked about that is I had to clean it, then I had to buy all the furniture put in that.
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, and like, I like my town. That's a 3,000 square foot townhouse, right?
Right.
But I kind of like it because makes it easier. Got somebody to do my yard work. Got a housekeeper.
Yeah.
And it gives me time for I call it Dale time.
Dale time. Yeah.
I like my Dale time.
What do you say in you ever see You, Me, and Dupree?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Carlness.
Yeah. Right.
That's Dale-ness right there.
Exactly. So, yeah. You gotta take time for yourself. Yeah.
So, okay. So with that, in 10 years, where do you want to be?
See, I don't have a 10-year plan. I mean, I have a plan,
Right.
but it's not a definitive. I have to be here. I have to do here.
And that's perfect. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm.
What are some things you'd like to do?
I would still continue to do my traveling.
Cool.
I'd like to do 1 or 2 big trips a year.
I think traveling is such a big thing, and people
Right.
really should travel more.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate it when people tell me, "Oh, I don't have the time." Make the time.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
such a huge world out there,
Right.
and we're such a small speck on this huge planet. And if
Right.
we don't go out and explore everything, like get your faces out of the computer, get your faces off of the TV, go out there and learn another culture.
Right.
I'm not saying that I do it all the time. I'm guilty of what I just said.
Right.
By all means.
Right.
But January, going to Iceland. Because of.
I'm going in November.
Are you?
Yes.
Oh, no way.
It's hilarious.
Yes. I want to go see the Northern Lights.
Yes.
I want to go to the Blue Lagoon. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes.
It's heated by a volcano. What lake is heated by a volcano?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And there's this place called Faroe Islands. I don't know if you heard about that one. It's not. I think it's more east of Iceland.
Right.
Where the Vikings supposedly settled.
Right. Okay.
So we'll have to exchange more information actually, because
We'll talk
you
about that offline.
yeah, you can actually get. They said you get a ticket or something where you can actually buy lunch or something and sit where the Vikings actually used to sit for their meals. You can do that,
Wow.
and I think that's awesome.
I'm
you know?
thinking about doing a side trip to Greenland since I'm up there for like a day or 2.
I mean, you're there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
But see, that's cool too. But see, there's a lot of places here. I've been to 48 of the 50 states.
okay.
And a lot of people haven't traveled inside the U.S. They always want to go abroad. There's
Right.
some neat stuff here in the United States that people need to go see.
Man. And I haven't seen them either.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
Yellowstone.
Beautiful.
I
Grand Tetons, incredible.
have not been there yet, and that is one of the places.
Arches,
that I really want to
Canyonland. There's beautiful parks out in Utah.
go. Oh, okay. That's right. You were going to go to Utah this weekend.
Yes. I'm still going to go back there. Yeah. Yeah.
So what?
Go
All
ahead.
right. So the past year, people have been asking me about. You've been saying Utah a lot. I'm like, yeah, only because people have told me about Utah. I don't know what's out there.
Mhm.
What is out in Utah? Like, I mean.
Oh, it's just the beautiful scenery. It's
Yeah.
Arches is there, Canyonland's there. That's down in Moab.
Okay.
That's the southwest corner.
Okay.
It's actually southeast corner.
I was going to ask you
Yeah,
that actually.
yeah.
'Cause I don't know. I'm not too good with the geography.
Right, and then
such,
there's Provo, Utah. That's beautiful. I've been skiing out there. There's great skiing outside of Salt
Yeah.
Lake City, Snowbird, all of those are there.
Now is that more like kind of like, I don't want to say cold, but just like Denver kind of? I mean, is it?
I think it's very similar to that. Well, when you head out of Denver to go skiing over in Vail, I think it's very similar to that.
Okay, that's cool. Where is one place that you still want to go that you haven't been?
I have to hit the Mount Rushmore. I have to head to North Dakota and South Dakota, the Badlands. That's the only 2 places
Have
I've
done
been.
it?
No, I'm gonna get there. I want probably the next year or so. But I want to go to Patagonia first. There's 2 hikes I want. I've been to Peru and hiked in the Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu, I always say it
Oh
wrong.
man, so many of my
So-
friends have been there too.
Yeah. So, but I wanted to go a year ago to Kilimanjaro and hike that.
Right.
The guys I went hiking with really got hit by the altitude sickness when we were down there. So this one's 19,000 over in Kilimanjaro. But I wanted to hit Kilimanjaro, then the Serengeti's right there, do a nighttime and a daytime, and then fly down to Victoria Falls and hit that.
Sounds actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, then I want to go to Patagonia. I want to hike down there. That's beautiful.
Now, what was the longest trip that you've taken?
Probably 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah, that would have been to my first trip to Thailand.
Thailand?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
What was one of the biggest cases that you've enjoyed working with?
Biggest cases?
Yeah.
Well, everyone worked 9/11. I was here in D.C. when that happened.
Right.
So that was nice to be a part of that.
If I could break in real quick with that, actually. How much more on the inside was it than the outside of what people see?
I don't understand.
Okay, so, I mean, you're more on the inside and you see a lot more of, hey, these questions need to be answered. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. We only see what they put on the TV. That's it. How much more serious was it on your end rather than what we see?
I don't know if I can answer because my end was just the going to the airport and identifying the hijackers.
Oh, so that's okay.
So we just conducted the investigation and and talking to the family members.
Okay.
And things of that nature.
Now, are you did you really get into you really had to obviously do your job, whatever, but how hard was that to do? I mean, knowing that you have to go through the whole family. No.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, we meet people on their last days. I mean, not their last, on their worst days.
Right.
So I mean, you gotta respect that.
What's I'm gonna switch gears for a second here. What is one of the biggest fears that you have?
Claustrophobia.
Yeah. Now, did that start early or?
I think you always had it. I think it's just gotten worse as I've gotten older.
Really?
Yeah.
You would think that maybe sometimes it would maybe get better at times. You know what I mean? Like only because you're growing, you're more mature, and you know what I mean. But I mean, everybody's different.
Yeah, but a phobia is not something. Like people are afraid of heights and stuff like that. They can.
Oh, dude, I was terrified of heights.
Yeah.
And so I jumped out of the plane.
Yeah. See, I used to have a bridge phobia because I remember dreaming. I was dreaming as a kid. We used to go across the Chesapeake Bay Bridge. I remember when I was a little kid, I had this dream where we get to the top, and then on the way down, it would turn into a sliding board, and our car would just slide right off into the water. I can remember that dream.
Really?
So yeah, but still, how I got over that is I drove across the Golden Gate Bridge a couple times.
It did not help anything.
Yeah,
those dreams never helped.
Yeah,
anything.
so I'm not sure I'm not sure where my claustrophobia kicked in or what event happened in my childhood, but.
Have you ever thought about seeing somebody about it, or have you? Or
no, I haven't. I've always thought about it. Does the cognitive counseling really work, or did they just go to the office and they lock you in a closet for 12 hours and you come out?
You're gonna learn.
You'll be cured by then.
So, if you had the opportunity to speak in front of the whole world, what would you talk about?
Right.
And where would you talk about it? I think it's the front page.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's bottom.
Oh, I said I would do it. I said I'd speak at Machu Picchu. It's I have a little tagline that I try and teach new leaders, and one of my leadership. Everyone always tells you go read all these different leadership books, and some people think that they read this leadership book that's going to make them a leader. I don't think so. It maybe give you some advice and some tools.
Yeah.
But you have to pick a leadership style or something out of that book that you can adapt to your personality and to your style of leadership.
Right.
It's not like if it's not going to fit, it's not going to look legitimate. It's not going to be compassionate. It's not going to show that you really is part of you.
Right.
It's going to be fake, and people will pick up on that. So what a big thing I like to tell new leaders is that I says that everyone has a story to tell.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, just find out what their story is.
Yeah, and it's great because and especially nowadays, nobody wants to take the time to actually sit down and understand somebody else's story. And I blame it on everything. I don't want to say everything, but there's so many things that distract everybody nowadays that nobody wants to sit down and take that in from somebody else's perspective, because they're so involved with me. Me. And it's like, all right, step the fuck out of the circle for a second, dude, and look at it. You know what I mean? This person could be going through so much. You know what I mean? FBI agent, awesome. Nobody ever would have thought you're claustrophobic. You know, you're like claustrophobic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People will probably have a question right now. Wasn't that an issue? Like, didn't you ever have to go into a claustrophobic, area or something during, one time or another? You know what I mean? But nobody wants to learn that story because everybody's so focused on me. You know, it's just like, oh, he's an FBI agent, got it great. No, you know what I mean? Like,
well, they assume a lot of facts, not evidence. That's why I don't tell people that.
Yeah.
Because right away, if I tell people that, they think, oh, guy's a prude. He's a, he thinks he's arrogant and stuff like that. And
it's
I'm far
the
from
automatic assumption.
Right. That's why I don't tell people that.
You know, you're funny as hell though.
That's my coping mechanism.
So, who was one of the best teachers that you ever had?
Let me before I hold on to that question. Let me back up and finish the thing. So what I talk about when the leadership is, you get to the leadership because of the other people. So it's time you have to take care of those people, and you have to be willing to learn. See, I think what makes me a good leader, I'm not gonna say I'm a great leader, but I'm a pretty good leader, is that I don't think I know everything. Sometimes people get in positions, they think they know everything, and that's dangerous because you can't tell them. I remember as a supervisor in the bureau, I used to tell my bosses, I said, my job is to tell you everything I know about a decision, about an investigation, or about something going on, so you as the boss can make the informed decision.
Right.
I'll tell you the good news, the bad news, and I'll be very diplomatic about it and very honest. But that's the problem. People don't want to give the honest, truthful news that the leadership needs to make an informed decision. That's what is a test of leadership, making that tough call, or maybe, holding someone accountable that works for you that you don't really want to, but you know what they did needs to be held accountable. You got to make the call.
You also kind of like, you as in general, but by thinking that way of like, okay, I'm going to teach you and I'm not going to take anything else in, and learn myself, you kind of cut off the ability, I don't want to see the ability, but to learn more or to accept more and say, hey, you know what, I did this wrong, maybe I can do it better, but since the mind is already in an egotistical sense, I guess, that's the way I look at it, that's my opinion, but you're going to cut certain things off and you're going to be like, you know what, now I need to learn this because I'm in charge.
Right, right. It's not like you go up to somebody, hey, that was a good presentation, but.
Right.
You don't do that. You say, hey, that was great, but you don't say the but. You say, hey, Ann, hey, listen, what about this? You were talking about adding this.
Right.
Something to think about.
The mind switches and you're like, hey, they're right. Because as soon as you say that but, this is like, okay, he's in charge.
Yeah. Here we go. What did I do wrong? So you change the but to and let's try this next time.
So where did you learn that type of thinking though, to where it's like difference, almost like the difference between and but?
I think there's the big debate about leadership. Some people say it's in you, some people say it's not, and some people say you can learn it. I think I'm lucky because I think I have an average IQ, but I have a high EQ. And I think a lot of times people, we're losing that social skills. People need the ability to talk, to interact. We're very social animals. My biggest thing, I love to take people to lunch. Even if I have to pay for it on my own dime, I'll do it. When I get someone working for me and I want to get to know them, I want to talk to them or help them out, hey, let's go eat.
Let's go break some bread. Is the simplest thing to do with somebody.
Yeah.
I love to do it, and everybody is so scared to meet new people nowadays because they're so stuck on their phones, they're stuck on the computer, they're stuck on Instagram. Now, I'm not saying that I don't have I don't have Instagram, I have a Twitter for the show, of course, but I don't have anything else because I don't want my life to be on the computer. I want my life as when I walk down the street, it's following me. It's not following on something that honestly doesn't really exist. That's all fake.
Right.
It's not real.
Yeah, I tell people, be here now.
Yeah, that's the greatest thing you could ever do.
Put the electronics away.
Yes.
Let's engage. Let's be here now.
Yeah, and there's nothing more real than that actual conversation, and this is why I took this up. Now, I probably won't get a dime for doing these interviews, but I enjoy it, and it's something that I know I can get a one-on-one connection, with people. So I do it, and it's been the greatest thing because, like you said before, everybody has a story. So once you sit down,
what's your story?
And fucking learn it. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. And people look at me, they're like, "Are you getting anything out of it?" No. I'm using my time to do it. So why do you do it? Wrong perspective of life, right there. I mean, you can see it from that point. Wrong perspective. It's like, well, what do you want to do? Oh, A, B, and C. So do it. Why are you waiting on anybody else? Or it's just completely different from, I guess, where we should be. That perspective of life is not there anymore. And if we would go back into like the 70s or the 80s where electronics were not there, that would be great. So it's so have you had
let me interrupt you there. You brought up a couple of points here that I don't talk about. I call it, like a lot of times, the younger people, I call it the microwave generation. A lot of people want gratification immediately. They want it.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, the microwave generation.
Yeah, they want it now. My dad used to tell me, hey, you have to be the crap before you be the toilet.
That's a good one. Never heard that one.
Yeah. And things take time, you gotta, and you also said my favorite word. My favorite word is perspective.
Perspective is such a...
Everyone loses perspective, what's really important in life.
Just that word alone can make you stand up, step outside the box, and look in.
And you find out people who have a better perspective who are people who have had trials and tribulations in their lives.
So, where did you grow up though?
I grew up in Clinton, Maryland.
Clinton, Maryland. Okay.
From 1968 to about 1984, I lived there.
Okay, cool. So, where after that? Where did your life go? Like after that? So I'm guessing that you went into the
F.B.I.
Yeah.
No, not yet. I wasn't there yet. I was in '84. I moved down to Pax River. Worked at Pax River for a couple years with the Navy.
Okay.
And then I moved there. I went to the Bureau in '87.
'87.
And then '87, that's when I moved to California.
California.
I transferred to California.
Whereabouts over there?
Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Sacktown.
How was that?
Great.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Is there more mountains over there too?
Well, not so much in Sacramento. Sacramento's part of a valley, but to the east is the Sierras and the beautiful mountains.
Really?
Lake Tahoe, Yosemite's a beautiful park. I love the Yosemite.
Wow.
We used to have a lot of surveillances down there.
Yeah.
Because some people we were watching, they'd go down there. And so we had a buddy on my squad. He used to go, he'd go get a dozen of eggs, right? And he'd drive around. And he got where, there's like 5 or 6 of us. So all of them, kind of like queue up in line sometimes. Dirt roads following each other. So he would take the egg and he'd chuck it up in the air, toss it up real high. So as the next car would come by, another bureau car, all of a sudden you get an egg on your windshield. Something when you just pass the time on a boring surveillance.
Come on, you gotta have a sense of humor. You know what I mean? I mean, it seems like you guys had a lot of fun though.
You have to.
So, did you always work with like the same partners, or did you?
Well, you have unofficial partners.
Okay.
It's not like you're assigned a partner and says, hey, you're a partner.
Right.
Typically, you have a squad, and it just depends on who's around. And sometimes I'd go out and do all my interviews by myself, or depending on what it was, if I wanted another agent there, I say, hey, I got to go interview this guy. Why don't you come with me or something? Or you have an interview in this area, we can shag this together. But a lot of times you do that.
What's the squad now? Is it usually like 4 people, 6 people?
Squad's usually about 12.
Oh, wow.
12 people.
I was way off.
Yeah, that's fine. About 12.
That's cool.
Supervisor and then about 12 people, 12 agents.
Now, not sure if you know the answer to this, but how did they actually put that together?
The squad?
Yeah.
What do you mean put it together? Like
so, they'll say, okay, we got Agent Johnson, Miskell.
Right. How they staff it with the agents?
Yeah.
A lot of times they'll base it on what the agents, like your senior agents, what they've worked. If it's a white-collar crime squad, there'll probably be a lot of CPAs on there. There'll be a couple of attorneys on there.
Right.
And there'll be different years of experience. And then your newer agents would be there for a year or two, and they might transfer them over to another squad just so they can get a bigger, broader experience of different types of cases.
So, you have, we're going to go with squad here, that name there. or that word. So you have 12 people.
Mm-hmm.
What's 3 adjectives that they would describe you as?
Dedicated.
Starting off.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Starting off.
Okay.
Dedicated is a great word to start off with. We're done. No.
Yeah. No, I'm always willing to help, man. Whatever it takes.
That's great. That's always good. That's exactly.
Yeah.
That's
And they can-
that's a lot that's missing in this world, to
Yeah.
be honest.
And they know I got their back.
Yeah, that's what people should have. So you get 2 more. Dedicated, number 1.
Trustworthy.
Right.
Honest.
Honest is
Loyal.
always. Oh, you added 4. That's cool. You kind of threw the 1-2 punch. No, that's good though. Loyal is hard, and honesty is very hard to find. In anything, I believe that's my opinion. But I try to be as honest as possible. I always say, so here's honesty. You might not like the story, but I promise you it's God's honest truth. You know what I mean? This is what happened. And if people don't like it, I understand. But you want the truth, there it is. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to beat around the bush. I don't like that though. I like to be straightforward. Hey, not to be rude by any means, but you want people to know the God's honest truth, so say it. Do it. You know, I mean, and people don't want to be honest anymore because I think we're too sensitive. And sensitive on both ends. So, yeah, I don't want to hear that, but guess what? I need to hear it. There's a difference between wanting and needing. Right. And on the other end, I feel bad for that person, so I don't think I should say that.
It's like, what are these like safe spaces I hear they're putting in colleges right now? Because I don't like what you're saying, so I need to go to a safe space.
I've heard the same thing. I just don't know what the hell it is.
Right.
But safe space. I mean, what are we in kindergarten? I'm sorry.
I mean, how else do I not learn if I don't hear your point? I mean, I remember us having this discussion about Obamacare when I was first rolling out with this girl that did at some bar. She was very, very much into very liberal. She's telling me that. Right. She goes, "Oh, you must not like because you're not liberal." I said, "No, it has nothing to do with it." I said, "I'm a very common sense person." I said, "I love for the government to try things, to do things." But I said, "Here's my biggest problem with it." I said, "It's taken over what somebody said, like 1/5 of the economy, right?" And I said, "Let me ask you this." I said to her, she did a lot of traveling. I said, "You fly out." She's right. I said, "Now, when an airplane is made," I said, "do they just roll it off the line and then the next thing you know, it's flying passengers?" She goes, "Oh, no, they do a lot of testing." I go, "I had like months?" She goes, "Oh, yeah, months and stuff like that. I do all different stuff." I said, "Okay, now think about that. Now, let's talk about this healthcare." I said, "We don't know how this is going to work. This thing is like 2,000 pages. We're not sure if it's going to work good or bad or whatever, but we need to do something like that. So why don't we do this? Why don't we roll it out like in a couple small venues, a couple small states, and a couple medium-sized states?
Right.
And let's see how it works."
Right.
Because don't you think it'd be a lot easier to change it there as opposed to changing it for 50 states?
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh, that's a great idea." I go, "Yeah."
Dale, you should run.
No,
you know,
no way. No way. But I'm saying, I was telling her, I said, that's all I'm asking. Just let's, instead of just taking over and doing millions of people, let's just take it easy and do a small state, 1 or 2, and 1 or 2 medium state, and say, hey, this is our test thing. We're doing it for 6 months, and then we're going to reevaluate it. Unless something goes through the way, 90 days out, we can check it again and change it. That's all.
Right. I'm going to backtrack for a second.
Go ahead.
So, beep, beep. Yeah, we're going to put the reverse lights on. I remember when I first asked you if you could do this interview, you didn't mind talking about Nigeria.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think we could still talk about that?
Yeah.
Is that cool? So, how did that start off? And what was one of your best and worst times there?
Okay. Let's see. This is about 2003. I just got promoted to headquarters. I was a supervisor.
Okay.
The way it works is typically before that's the next thing. You got to go touch the key. You got to go back to headquarters once you get selected.
Okay.
So I'm a brand new supervisor. So I go back, and I got promoted late in the bureau. I was having too much fun as a street agent, so I didn't want to do anything. I was like 15 years. I was 15 years in before I went up to become supervisor. And typically, it's no, I'm sorry. I was in 12 years. no, it was all right. It was 15 years. So it was, so about 15 years in, so I came up to be a supervisor.
Right.
And which is great because I knew a lot. I've been around a while, so I kind of really know how the bureau works.
Okay.
Administrator. So now I'm back at headquarters, and this is 1990. This is 2003. So the internet's online shopping is relatively new. Think about it. 2003.
Yeah.
It's new, man. All your brick and mortar stores are now thinking about, hey, let's plug this in and we'll sell stuff online.
Right.
What they forgot to realize is all those scammers that are out there. And what compound the issues is that now I want to one up my other people. So you know what? I sooner and quicker I get this out the door, that makes me sell better. You'll buy from me.
Right.
Well, the problem is, and that means you're trusting your client a little bit more because the window of opportunity to investigate. So there's really no checks or balances in place that can minimize the fraud.
Right.
So corporations, all these brick and mortar stores that are now going online, they were losing millions of dollars. I mean,
I never thought about
millions of dollars. So they had the big scam was this, the reshipper scam. So what they would do is they couldn't get the stuff overseas. A lot of the companies wouldn't send it overseas. Mm-hmm. So what they did was they would befriend someone here in the United States. They'd either hire them, or in a lot of the cases, it was someone that they were in love with, and I put that in quotes. Or they had a relationship with this girl exclusively online, but they're in love. Okay.
Of course,
exactly.
Because you can feel something.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Because he loves me because he sent me flowers.
Right.
He sent me a box of candies. So what they'll do is then they'll order something, and they'll have it shipped to your house, and they'll tell you, hey, baby, my package is coming. It's coming from this company. You know, when you get it, let me know because I'm going to email you a shipping label, and you ship it to me. Well, first of all, they're just, I don't want this because it's going to cost me. No, babe, I'm paying for everything. I just need you to ship to your house because I can't, because the country I live in, they won't allow the companies to ship directly to me. Right. But my girlfriend or my family members can send me things because you're not a company. Oh, okay, I'll do that for you. So now it comes to your house via shipping company A. Well, I use shipping company B to get it out of the country. I send you a email, and part of the email is going to be a shipping label.
Right.
Sends it to me overseas in Nigeria. Now here's what's happening. Shipping A and B, those companies, they let me do credit. They let me open up an account. In 30 days out, I get my first bill. I don't pay it. They don't shut my account down till 90 days.
Okay.
This is how it used to be. I don't know how it is now.
Okay,
After all this broke, we had a lot of conversations with the shipping companies. They may have changed this. So what they would do then is that at 90 days out, they shut it down. I don't care. I've already gotten $10,000 worth of free shipping. So I've moved on to open up another account. So now we have ABC company send it to you. You've sent it over to me, and I've got it. Now, if they come with a complaint, someone may complain, but then they're going to send it to the police. The police aren't going to do anything with it because they went overseas. I can't help you. They call the FBI office. The FBI office says, well, I don't know if I can help you because you only lost $1,000, Mr. ABC company, and chances are prosecution, the government won't prosecute someone because the guy's way overseas, and you know, she probably didn't do anything. So I started seeing all this. I said, well, we need to have a concerted effort here. We need to try and identify these people because chances are they're not just one time, and they weren't. Right. So I came up with this idea. About the same time, the merchants were setting up this thing called the Merchants Risk Council, which is still out there. Mm-hmm. And that was basically getting all the merchants together, your American Express, your Visas and stuff like that, and Discovery cards, where they start sharing information.
Okay.
Well, I went out there and said, listen, we'd like you to share it with us. You can redact your company information. We don't want that, but we'd like the suspicious shipping information. Because what we can do then is we can then query other law enforcement agencies or query our databases to see if this guy, Joe Schmuckatella, whatever, is also shipping here, or this IP address, or this credit card number. So, because if we wait to get the fraudulent credit reports from the credit card companies, it's going to be 90 days out. Whereas if we get it on the front end where you first suspect it, then we can maybe also then send out an email to all the other companies that says, listen, don't ship to this address, don't take this credit card, don't take this guy's username, stuff like that, because it's all fraudulent.
Right.
So that's what I did. So they started helping us out. And so it was great. I traveled a lot, going around all these different companies and meeting with them and talking to them to get them to share information. They started doing it. So then I realized, okay, now ground zero is Nigeria and Ghana. Now, I don't know if you know this, but there's probably 75 different embassies in the United States where FBI agents are assigned.
No, I did not.
They're overseas. They're overt positions. They're not covert or anything like that. Okay. Their main job in that country is to effect liaison with the law enforcement for that company. Because remember, when the Bureau was first created in the early 1900s, we were worried about interstate flight. You'll see all of our statutes have to have an interstate flight nexus to it. Because people were traveling from state to state.
Right.
100 years later now, people are doing what? They're traveling country to country.
Everywhere, yeah.
Exactly. They're going like that fast.
Yeah.
So we're saying, we need to have agents overseas that can have relationships with the national police or with the local police. And that way, if something happens where we know a bad guy's there or some crime's going on that's being facilitated, we can liaison with them, we can investigate, we can work the case with them, we can leverage our resources, we can provide them training, we can give them money to help support stuff like that. So I knew we had a couple of agents over there in Nigeria. So I called them up and said, hey, what's the chances of this happening? Can we get any cooperation from the Nigerian police department? And he says, hey, you're in luck. They've started up this new law enforcement group called the EFCC. Matter of fact, the State Department has money available for training. So that we got up with the State Department paid for myself and a couple agents to go over there for a couple weeks. We put a week training in each in Ghana and Nigeria on Cyber 101, basically.
Right.
How to investigate cybercrime, how it's set up, what's going on, things like that. And then we parlayed that into me going over there for 30 days and doing a bunch of what we call controlled deliveries.
Right. So, I mean, I'm guessing the controlled deliveries are like full investigation.
Well, what happens is the product arrives in the shipping company that afternoon. Okay. I would be over there and then I'd go through it and I'd write everything down. I'd send an email back to the FBI.
Right.
And I'd say, check all these packages out. Then they would come back, they're all fraudulent. So the next day we know, okay, delivery time. So a policeman would dress up as a delivery for one of the different companies, okay? And then we would go do a controlled delivery. So because they own a tax to it. So what happens is when the tax pays the tax, then they would arrest the person.
Okay.
So
what was probably one of the worst cases that you've ever done? Not necessarily in Nigeria or Ghana or anything, but one of the worst cases that you've done that maybe just basically scared the living shit out of you? Was there any case that? Yeah. You always have those moments. Right. But I'll tell you some of the things happened in Nigeria. Incredible. We had this one kid. The policemen didn't have cars, so they would take our cars. Okay.
They had to use ours. So I had a big, heavy armored limousine, not an SUV rather, up Hemi. So it was up armored, really nice and stuff like that. So we would park on the corner. So he goes and makes his delivery. So we go over to. Meanwhile, the first arrest was a riot. It turned into basically a riot.
Really?
Yeah, I had no idea it was going. They went crazy because these ladies were fighting, and they do law enforcement a lot different over there.
Yeah.
They.
How so though?
There's just a lot of different tactics that they use that we wouldn't use and stuff like that. They use whips over there.
Really?
Yeah, keep the crowds back.
Wow. That's like some Indiana Jones shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and then there's once we're driving away and the policeman's in the car in front of us driving back. He decides to pull out his Beretta 9mm and shoots it up in the air like 3 times. Like, you know how the cowboys used to shoot the guns off and they used to ride off and stuff? Yeah. He pops 3 rounds up to the ceiling. I'm like, oh my Lord.
Just randomly?
Just randomly.
That's gonna scare the living shit out of anybody around you.
Then I was telling the guys about gravity and the bullet. See, they thought the bullet just disappeared. Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, I had to tell them about physics, terminal velocity.
Oh, they didn't get it.
Yeah,
wow.
they thought. Then the driver thought I was making that up.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, did he believe you when he told you?
Well, I told a story, and then later, after all the policemen were out, the driver was driving me back to the embassy, and they call me Dell, like the computer, because they can't pronounce Dale. And he goes, Mr. Dell. He goes, that story you told about the bullet going up in the air. He says, is that true?
Hey, some people don't know though. That's the thing. I mean, if you don't know, you don't know.
You're right.
You know, I mean, and it's great. I think it's great that people are telling me. Like I said before, people don't. They're not going to give their time up. Be like, all right, you don't know that. Well, you're stupid. Yeah. No, tell them. Let them know. You know, let them on the inside. Say, hey, gravity holds us to the ground. What's gravity? Okay, let's explain it for a second.
Yeah. Just
because you don't know it doesn't make you stupid. It just means you haven't experienced that. You know what I mean? You just don't know it. And I think it's great that people actually, have an open mind to say, hey, no, this is how it works. A, B, C. That's the way it works. their mind is going to be blown, and there's so many more things that people can learn. So it's, you know, it's.
Yes, question about scared me and stuff like that. Almost any arrest you should be concerned about, especially if it's an armed and dangerous. And you say, you're going to be excited because you're going to be more situational awareness. I'll tell you a couple stories. Once in California, like back in the day, when I was there, like 2/3 of all bank robberies happened in California.
Okay.
I don't know what the stat is nowadays, but back then, a lot of bank robberies.
That's where they were at.
So in Sacramento, when I think it's all the other field offices there as well, when the bank alarm goes off, it would also come over the FBI radio. It comes out silent 211. That's the statute there. It's such and such bank.
Right.
And you're just responding. And they'll give the address. So typically, if I was close, most everyone starts responding. And the way it works is some agents will go directly to the bank, and other agents, we do what starts doing a neighborhood. Okay. So what that means is if I'm coming in from the north, then I'll start looking around the north. I'll start looking for the lookout. Do we have a lookout for a car? I might park at a major intersection looking for a car, things like that. So on this bank robbery, for one instance, as I'm rolling close, they put out the lookout and stuff like that, so I don't see it. But I see a guy sitting in a pickup truck in front of a strip mall that's like vacant.
Right.
I'm like thinking, what's that guy doing over there? Down the way there's a car wash, and he's sitting up here. So I said, I'll just walk by and drive over, see what. So I'm a single unit, but I'm by myself. So I roll in, put my light on, pop up behind him, walk up and go, hey, Del Misco, I'm with the FBI. We just had a bank robbery, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I said, what's going on? He said, I'm just waiting on my friend. Where's your friend? He's over at the car wash. He'll be in a minute. I said, okay. So he's really nervous.
Yeah.
And I could smell a hint of alcohol on his breath.
Yeah.
So I got on the radio. I told him have another unit start this way. So another guy's on his way. So I said, why are you so nervous? Well, I said, I want to tell you something. He says, well, he goes, now meanwhile, my other units responded, and this guy has showed back up. There's another guy now.
Okay.
So they're on one side of the truck. I'm on the other side of the truck, and I'm talking to this guy. He said, oh, I tell you, but I want my buddy to know. I said, buddy, you can tell me anything. I said, I'm not going to tell anyone.
Yeah.
I said, walk back here. So I walked him back towards my front of my car so he can't see. I said, what's going on? He goes, you won't tell me? But I said, nah, I'm not going to tell him. I said, what are you going to tell me? He goes, my buddy robbed the bank. I go, no way. He goes, yeah, he did.
He's your best friend.
I said, prove it. He says, yeah, he did. He goes, I got the money right here. I said, let me see it. So he pulls out a lot of money. I go, wow. I said, cool.
You had to act like a 5-year-old too.
I was having,
oh my goodness.
Exactly. Like, wow. I said, let me see. So I put that in my wallet. I said, guess what? I said, hey, you're under arrest. So I handcuff him, right? I put him down. Now, meanwhile, they're on the other side. The truck has a camper shell, so the other side, they don't know what's going on.
Right.
So now I walk around the back. The agent's looking at me. The bad guy's got his back to me, so he can't see me. And I mouth, he did the bank. I said, he robbed the bank. So we grab him. We lock him up. So now we transport them and get them back to the office and start interviewing. Meanwhile, there's 2 other bank robbers back at their hotel.
Right.
So we went and got those 2. They did like 40 some odd bank robberies on the West Coast. They were just driving around doing banks.
This guy was so happy to tell you that.
You just never know.
It was me. Like, he was so happy to.
That's what I said. You talked earlier about listen to what's your story.
Yeah.
You got to listen to their story. You got to be willing to engage people.
Yeah.
I used to tell the new agents, listen.
He was dying to tell you too.
I said an FBI agent has to be able to talk a starving dog off the back of a meat truck.
That is great, dude.
Yeah, you do.
That is a great.
Think about it. You're going around. You're knocking on doors where you don't know who's in there.
Going completely
or what's
blank.
going on. Yeah. One time, myself and a partner, we go to this lady's house. Okay, park up the street because we're looking for her nephew for bank robbery.
Right.
Knock on her door. So she answers the door. I said, FBI. She goes, oh gosh, thank you, it's you. She goes, I thought it was those damn Mormons. Come on in. And later, we're walking back to her car. I go, wow, that's different. She's glad we're not Mormons. We were looking up we'll lock up her nephew. And I'm like, jeez.
No, just the FBI.
Yeah, yeah, right. Amazing.
Oh man, that's great though. So, did you do the majority of your time in Nigeria, or was that just like?
That was like TDYs, temporary duties over.
Okay, cool. Yeah. How long did that take?
A couple weeks here, a couple weeks here. Then the longest time I stayed was a little over 30 days. I went over for 30 days one time.
Okay. Did you like? What was one place that you just really did not enjoy to go to, or
Well, most of my international traveling was just operationally to Nigeria. Most of my travel, that was just to conferences and stuff like that.
Right. Actually, going back to that, I mean, I had, so, like, I'm single, so I've done Match.com, all these other things, and I've noticed that, not the same exact thing, but pretty much the same thing. I mean, different areas of doing it and such, but, I would talk to girls, whatever, get them on the phone, and you start to notice that all they want is money. And these are the people that will do the same exact thing. You know what I mean? All of a sudden
They're scammers. That's all they
Yeah.
do. They used to do. Listen. You would not believe how many people I called from when I was an FBI agent at headquarters, telling them that ma'am, you've been scammed. I've had to talk to their adult kids. Their adult kids have called me. Their mom's all crying because this guy's in love. He's coming over. She's been sending him money to get the ticket, to get the. I had to pay $1,000 for a visa. Yeah, I don't think the U.S. charges that much for visas.
Oh, dude, I've gotten asked.
You know?
Yeah, and I think the one was, so I got a small story for you, actually. So, talking to this girl, never got to meet her. So I was like, all right, it's either we're meeting or we're not meeting.
Right.
And I'm not going to sit here and have a relationship over the phone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, not that it was a relationship, but you're getting to know somebody.
Right.
It's not going to take a whole month to meet somebody. That's just not the way it works. You know,
It's on. It's like move on.
Yeah, communications here. You know, so she tells me, she's like, hey, it was weird at first. Everything was fine. We were just kind of talking, and then all of a sudden, the story comes out about her grandmother and diabetes, and she needs this shot and that shot. I'm like, oh,
sucks to be you.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And it came out. Just don't have the money this month to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like, didn't expect her to ask me this at all, right? Because I'll give anybody the shirt off my back, okay? Was I a sucker at one point for those things? Yeah, because I've done it. I'm not saying I didn't. I was an idiot. It happens. But when you start asking me questions and you don't know me and you don't want to meet up, but yet you want money from me, it's like, I'm not that retarded. You know what I mean? Obviously, at one point it was, but it happens, So then she said, I think it was like $1,700 or something like that. I need this. I said, nah. I said, I'm good. And she's like, no, I'll pay you back. I said, no, I heard you. I heard you. Yes. But it's more common now than I've ever really realized. You know what I mean? And I had to do my homework on you, and I looked up a few things, and I was just like, wow. This is really more common than
It's been going on for years.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and it's like, never thought that it was something that the FBI would jump into and say, hey, this has to be solved. You know what I mean? Or however far in detail you guys went. That's when I started realizing, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, we put out a lot of public service announcements about it all the time.
I mean, it was great too, because when I came in here, you're like, hey, don't want to be rude. I'm like, nah, dude, do what you gotta do. You were watching the interview on, I'm sorry, or not the interview.
The statement by the director.
Yeah, and you know what? As much as I was just setting up, getting the show ready and everything like that, I was still kind of listening, and I'm like, I didn't know that was such a big deal on what really happened. And it's before elections, and it's, you know what I mean? Like, everything is ready to go. So it's like, I had to take in exactly, I'm like, all right, your whole career was FBI, you know what I mean? So now I get it, you know what I mean? Like, hold on one second, everything's got to go on hold real quick, and that's fine, you know what I mean? But I understand it, so it's actually really cool. So if you could, I think we're on like 5th gear right now, so we're just going to keep rolling with it here.
That's fine.
So, if there were 3 qualities that a person should have, what do you think those 3 qualities would be?
Truthful. Honest. Down to earth.
Down to earth. It kind of goes with the other 2 too.
Yeah,
And I mean, it goes.
Unpretentious,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, don't be so full of yourself.
Don't be a dick.
Exactly.
That's a rule in life. It should be one rule in life is don't be a dick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So what's a simple pleasure in life that you're just like, love this, that's cool, doesn't have to be anything like crazy.
Peanut butter milkshake.
A peanut butter milkshake?
Chocolate peanut butter milkshake.
Alright.
Sorry, I left out the
If
chocolate.
I keep asking you, you're gonna keep adding more shit onto it?
Yeah, just that chocolate peanut butter milkshake.
Never had that. Where do you get that?
Oh, you can get them all over the place.
Stewart's?
Yeah, they'll have it.
Stewart's has some of the best milkshakes.
Yeah, you gotta
and
try
people are like, actually, Stewart's has some of the best ice cream. And people are,
Yeah, yeah, most people have it, yeah.
Is it? No way.
Yeah.
So, do you get like one a week or something?
Oh no, not that. I did about a year ago. I was doing a lot of blizzards.
Oh yeah.
About a couple years ago, yeah, probably
Okay.
one a week. But then I wasn't running more to offset that extra calories.
So I always say this, like, I'm big on milkshakes.
Yeah.
Simplest thing is like, so I'll grab a milkshake, and this is how I just enjoy whatever it is. So the other day, got hammered, whatever, but went through the night, and I said, you know what? It's almost sunrise. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna make sure I see a sunrise because that's a simple pleasure for me. If I could watch a sunset or a sunrise. But if you get out onto it and grab a milkshake while you do it, that's a simple pleasure for you that you really enjoy. And on top of it, look at something I think that's really something that people actually miss in their life. So for me, it's okay, let's watch a sunrise or a sunset, and let's add a milkshake to it.
Yeah.
It makes you feel that much better because all you're doing is relaxing. And people don't take these small pleasures and apply it to their life. And I think the small pleasures, if you don't put them in, I really think that you're struggling through life. And I mean, I know that sounds weird,
No.
but at the same time, if you're not going to help yourself in a small way, how do you expect to help yourself in a big way?
Right. I have another thing that I do that's it's small pleasure, but it's I started this a couple years ago. When I think of people, I've lived throughout the United States. I've worked in various places, and I have a lot of friends. And I call them friends that if we lived near each other again or in town, we'd strike back our relationship and we'd start all over again, just where we left off.
That's
So
awesome.
so what happens is when I think about them, and I mean, start having a couple different thoughts about them, I get a hold of them that day. I call within a day or two, call them, check in. Hey, buddy, just thinking about you. What's going on?
Right.
How you doing? Yeah.
It's good to do that too. I mean, number one, it makes the other person feel great. Hey, someone's thinking about me. I don't care what anybody says. If you're not thinking that, there's something wrong. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I have people that hit me up, and that's the first thing I'm like, wow, I was on their mind.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. That's awesome. And it's not bad to say, like nowadays, we were talking about egotistical before. People want to have that. No, I wasn't thinking about that girl. Okay, well, put the ego down for a second, dude. It's okay to be thinking about somebody else.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like, and you know what? On top of that, why don't you let them know? That way, that's one of the three things that you just said. Truthful. Be truthful.
Oh, well, it can work. Sometimes it can hurt. But
Oh, yeah.
Years ago, I called this girl that I was dating. I said, hey, baby, I've been thinking about the last time we made love. I'm getting really excited.
Right.
She goes, who is this?
Ouch. That does hurt.
Yeah, it's a joke.
No, but it's happened to me so many times. It's like, oh, man.
Yeah.
But I do want to be respectful of your time, man.
That's cool.
If we could do a round two sometime, that would be great. I'll come back down and we just have a blast because I know you probably got more stories and everything like that, and I would love to pick your brain some more. And I didn't even get through half of the questions I wanted to get through. And
Give me your last shot. Here's what's your last question?
last question. Let's go with the last one on the page because it's a good one. Usually. So, which books or movies or documentaries do you love or would you recommend to people?
I like history books.
History books.
Yeah.
Why so?
Because it shows you the good things and the bad things of society. A lot of times people want to discount all the good, obviously all the bad stuff. Oh, it never happened. Let's take this away. Why? you should embrace it. Hey, we made a mistake. We were doing this,
Right.
but here's how we've changed it.
Yeah.
That's good.
And it's written down in the
Right.
record books. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm bigger into movies and documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
So I just recently started reading like books, actually, to be honest with you, and it's sad that I'm 30 years old and I started doing that just now. But I mean, so I got this 2 books I'm reading now is a 4-Hour Body by Tim Ferriss,
Okay.
and the other, I mean, it's like a 600-page book. It's huge, but it's all about the body, and he studied everything about it, and and took data on his own body and said, hey, I did this diet, blah 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 blah, everything from what goes in your body, what comes out, how to maintain orgasms between guys and girls. Like, I mean, everything that you could possibly imagine is there.
Yeah, it's what's called a
4-hour body.
4-hour body.
Yeah, but he also has the 4-Hour Chef, and then he has the 4-Hour Work Week. So, and they were all bestsellers. I'm not.
That's cool.
4-Hour Work Week was the bestseller. The other one is The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer.
Okay.
So far, such a great book, and it's a short read, probably under, I think it's like 175 pages, something like that. Such a good read so far, and it's like all about self-improvement. I mean, that's everything I'm reading so far is self-improvement.
Right.
I mean, but it really gets like that perspective, and it's like, hey, let's turn the switch for a second in your head and go this way, because it's gonna help you. And it's
Wow.
yeah, it really did help me out. Now I do also a Tony Robbins coaching session. Love it. Never thought that I would do something like that, because I thought that was too cool for that.
Don't walk over the coals though. Don't do the hot coals.
Yeah. Heard about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Not doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, love my feet.
Yeah, exactly.
I like to jog.
Yeah.
So do you actually have like any documentaries that you actually watched at one point or another that maybe?
Not any particular ones. I'm kind of busy reading work stuff,
Okay.
junk like that. Or then my movies are usually just stupid comedies like Central Intelligence.
Right.
I saw it with Rock. It's out now. You should go see it. Kevin Hart and Rock.
Yeah, I
Dwayne
do want to
Johnson.
see that. What do you say, jorts?
it's
What he had on?
Yeah. It's a good movie. So I have the ability to check out.
That's good.
I can put everything behind, go and get absorbed in this movie and laugh and then recharge my batteries and go home.
And I noticed that, like, and that's the first thing I noticed about you when everybody met you, right? It was just kind of like, I was like, this guy's funny as fuck. This guy's awesome, right? And then all of a sudden you tell us you're an FBI or retired FBI agent. We're like, nah, you're too funny, like.
Yeah.
I can have that ability, guys. Promise you. It's okay to have humor. So
Yeah, it's my coping mechanism. It gets me through this crazy world.
I think it's everybody's,
Yeah.
and it should be. If it's not, it should be. So
Yeah, because your last question about if I could donate money to ALS, let me tell you about that story.
if you could donate $1 million to any charity,
One of them would be ALS, because my training agent, right, great guy,
right?
called me. This is in like April of 2001. Hey, I've got ALS. Wow. He was dead by June.
No.
Yeah. Luckily, I went out there a couple times and saw him. It's in California, so I flew back to California, and we had a celebration life party, packed with a bunch of agents.
Right.
People touched
Was
his
it
life.
like a black party? Does everybody just wear their suit?
No, everyone was. It was a social thing, so we were all
Right.
dressed casual stuff. Like nobody was in suits, but
Cool.
no, just I let him know how much he meant to us, and
That's cool. I mean, what did Muhammad Ali recently just
He had
passed away?
Parkinson's,
He had Parkinson's.
yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
You have that on there too.
yeah, for Parkinson's and on Alzheimer's.
That's not easy because you slip in, you slip out, you have no idea what's going on. You know what I mean? And it's sad. You know what I mean? That the human body does go through something that you don't recognize. You know what I mean? It just kind of like literally slips in, and then all of a sudden you have no idea how to handle it, what's going on, and the people around you feel bad for you. And I get it, but if you could, help the situation, that's how you could help it. You donate, you do what you can to, help others. And I really think that nowadays, people are they'll look at something and they'll say, Oh no, I don't donate. Why? Well, I don't know where it's going. It's towards the cause. Like, just do it. You know, like.
Or investigate. Investigate. See what they do. What are their percentages?
So what do they do with the American Cancer Society? I hosted 4 or 5 different things throughout the past, I want to say 4 or 5 years. Does it all go there? No. I know that. I'm not stupid. I think it's like 40% of it or 33% of it. They get taxed out of it or something. So what? Everything is still for a good cause. So no matter what you put forward anyway, it's going towards what you wanted to do it, or you know where you want it to go. So just do it. You know, I just don't get people that think too far out the box. Oh no, because bam, A, B, C, and all of a sudden it goes all the way to H. Just like, relax. If you're gonna donate, just donate.
Right.
You know, and it's always for a good cause. So, but Dale, I really thank you for your time, dude.
You're welcome, brother.
Awesome.
Appreciate
it. Round 2, I really hope we can do it.
We can do it. We can do round 2.
Appreciate it, dude.
You're welcome.
I have to go. We have to leave now. I have to leave. We have to leave now. I have to go.
Bye-bye.
Well, see you later.